Thank you so much for joining the We Don't Play podcast show today, Aaron, all the way from Australia. How are you?
You're welcome. I'm really excited. I'm great. It's actually the night time here. I always joke that we're coming in from the future whenever we talk to someone that's over in the States.
It's so true. It's like you're already in tomorrow and we're in yesterday. So whoever's listening to it today is like, which time are we on right now?
No. Exactly. I can tell you what happens in the future.
Exactly. Oh man, no, I appreciate you for being with us today. And I thank you for the time you're spending with us, because a lot of people have had what I've been seeing, just with connecting with people on a day-to-day basis. I'm seeing that people are getting burnt out fast because AI is there. Yes, we can churn out, information, but we're not getting quality in response, and people are just taking out content, but they're not spending time. So you're going to help us save time today, right?
That's the goal. I think content creation is one of those areas that there's so many moving parts. It's very time consuming. Where do you get the ideas from? What form do you put it in? Where do you post it? The list is endless. So if you're not a natural content creator, the time and energy and resources that go into doing it well are very challenging. So hopefully we can solve that problem in this conversation.
Yeah, totally. I'm excited about this. I want us to roll back into time. Tell us a little bit about you. How did you get started? Where was that defining moment for you that really showed that, yeah, I'm ready to do this and this is what I've created?
In the beginning, wind back maybe 14 years, I used to write sales copy for landing pages, and back then Google advertising was really cheap. So I'd find a niche topic using the Google keyword tool that was cheap to advertise to. I'd buy the rights to a digital licensing product. I'd license it out, and I would drive traffic from Google ads to these landing pages and sell digital products. That's how I got my start into marketing. And then from there, a few business owners in my network knew that I knew how to do a few things online because it wasn't so cookie cutter back then. And that's how the agency side started, by accident, people just asking, can you help with this and that? And what I realized when I went down the agency path is I was quite young. I was in my early 20s. I didn't have a lot of credibility. I didn't have social proof. So the way that I was able to show that I had a skill set was through content. I could write a how-to post, I could put a video up, and what I shared in that content actually helped me get clients because they would watch it or they would consume the content and go, okay, so you know what you're talking about. So I became obsessed with content when I realized that it was a way to build a relationship, to show authenticity, and if you don't have experience and you're starting from scratch, a way that you can show people that you know what you're doing as a business owner. So that's how the obsession started. And then over time, we found ways to be able to create content that was authentic and original for business owners without them having to put in hours of their time. And that's how the 30 days in 90 minutes content creation system came about. And it's just been a gradual refinement over 14 odd years of creating content and being in the marketing space.
Congratulations, first of all. That's a huge achievement.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. 14 years is not 14 days. In business,
no.
It's not, because, we're going to be 10 years in business in September. And, thinking about it, and I've been in 25 years in the entertainment business industry as a self-taught drummer, just kicking off from scratch, like just playing the drums on, buckets and tables, and then taking the sticks and turning that into a whole drum piece. And now it's a musical art center, that people can listen to with discography and music. So, so like what you're saying is so important for people, because you think about the time you're investing, and you took a chance on yourself. That's a lot of things people don't do. They don't take a chance on themselves. They just say, we'll figure it out, We'll be there, or life is lifing, but life is really moving at a fast pace, and we're not really seeing that. So you doing that in a crunch time is so good. So I appreciate you for letting us know on that. I'm looking at a time lapse, right? Like a 60-second or 60-minute or 60-hour time lapse. how can someone look at time and sequence it in those different segments? Like you said, how do you create, 90 minutes, in a sequence that is so specific to someone understanding a formula, and not just rushing it because, I have a timer, it's 30 minutes, ding, and then it's over. But more like, how are you creating a 30-day original content stream that you're spending 90 minutes in a month to create value for that long? So how can you do that? How can someone understand this concept, please? Let's help each other.
There are 3 steps to the process, and the first one is, we call it research. So there's 3 R's, and that's the content ideas part, and that's one of the hardest areas for anyone. What do I talk about? What do I post about? Especially if you're doing it all the time. And there's a tool that a lot of people don't know about that's completely free that exists on Google. And if you take a keyword, and let's say it was work-life balance, and you put that into Google and you press search, you scroll down a little bit, there's a section called People Also Ask, and it's going to give you all the queries and questions that people are typing into Google. And if you click the down button, it'll just keep giving you query after query after query. So you've got all these questions that your target customers are searching on Google that can create relevant content ideas that you can answer and use, so you don't have to rack your brain and know what you're going to talk about. And then you can go again with another keyword. That might be lifestyle design, and you go see what people are typing in relation to that, and you just keep playing around, and you just take these questions and you park them to the side. That might take 2 minutes to get your list of questions. Then step number 2, this is where the meat of the process takes place, which is record. So just like we're doing right now, if you do a relaxed conversational approach to content, you show it really authentically. You're not in your head, you're not doing scripts, you're not staring down a camera, it's not awkward. And you have someone that you have a really good rapport with, that you have really solid conversations with, that you would chat to over coffee or at a bar, and they just feed you the questions that you are a subject matter expert on, that you've got from Google. And you just hit record like we're doing right now. And the best way to do it is the person answering the questions is on their smartphone, and they show up in portrait or selfie mode. That'll get really good short form quality video that they can put onto social media, and they just talk. And you go through each of those 12 questions, and that honestly usually takes 20 minutes to 40 minutes. And that's all you need to show up for each month. Once you stop recording, step number 3 is where it gets repurposed into all the content for the next 30 days. And there's a few pathways. So if you're bootstrapping and you haven't got a budget and you can't invest into your content, that's where you might lean on AI. So you can take the conversation, give it to a tool like rev.com, and that'll transcribe it into text. And then you might train ChatGPT to be able to repurpose your responses to each of those questions into written posts for social media. So you can do that. If you do have a budget, you might go to a freelancing platform like Upwork, and you can get a content writer and give them the instructions to get a written post to each of the questions that you've answered, because that's what people are looking for on Google. So it's relevant content. Then you've got the video side. So you've got tools like Opus Clip or Get Munch, that if you give it the original video piece, it'll cut it into short form clips with captions ready to go onto social media. The only challenge with AI is it cuts intuitively. So you might not get the 12 videos to the 12 questions that you were looking for. So you do compromise on quality a little bit. But if you've got some budget there, again, you go to a tool like Upwork, and you can give the instructions to someone that specializes in short form content and say, hey, can you cut a reel or a short from each of my responses to these 12 questions that I answered, and get them to put your branding and your captions onto the videos and send them back so they're ready to go for social media. And the beauty of that is it's original content because it's you on the video. The text that's being transcribed with the AI is still the words that come out of your mouth. So it's not duplicate, it's not vanilla, it's not something that other people have already posted online. So that's the model. And we discovered it by accident because one day I was on Zoom with one of my clients and he said he wanted to create some videos. And I said, well, let's just hit record. I'm just going to start feeding you questions, and he just reeled out all these answers. And then we took the recording, I gave it to my editor, and he sent back 12 clips that were ready to go at the end of that conversation. And I realized, wow, if we could do that on the fly, spontaneously, with a bricklayer who's based here in Melbourne, then I thought we'd definitely solve the content creation problem in our own little way with the strategy.
That's beautiful. I love that. The research part is what people stumble on because they don't know what to talk about. Yeah. When it comes to research and choosing that, I love using the ABC method as well. Because, like you said, work-life balance A, then you can see what's going on. Work-life balance B, you get to see what's going on. By the time you're done with the 26 letters of the alphabet, you should be fine. You should be fine,
Yeah, and there are some tools too, like vidIQ. That's a tool that you do have to pay for. But what it will do is you do the same thing. You take work-life balance as an example, go to the keyword section. It'll tell you how many people for the questions a month. It'll tell you what the competition looks like. So you can actually see which particular searches are going to be low competition opportunities to get discovered on platforms like YouTube. So you can uncover where there's some really low number of pieces of content created for something, and jump in and give yourself every chance to rank highly in the searches for that particular piece of content, which on a platform like YouTube, it's evergreen. If it ranks highly, people retain the attention when they find it. It sits there, keeps generating organic views for your business over and over again for people that are actually looking for that piece of content. So there's so many different ways you can approach it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's really insightful. I'm now even thinking, for the people who now have, let's say they have everything corrected, like they have their content put together and they're ready to go. How do they automate this so that they can spend that time and then they don't have to post every time to show up? How can they schedule it out? Do they need to schedule it or do they have to do it manually?
I recommend scheduling because you can get it to go at optimal times. Trying to post manually at the best time for your audience is tricky because you have to physically do it. Most platforms, free native scheduling tools. I use LinkedIn Scheduler, use Meta's business content planner, use YouTube scheduling, whichever platform you're putting content on. Use the platform's own scheduling tools because that'll give it the best performance. If you use a third-party tool, they don't like that because it's not their own platform. So you can have a VA or you can have someone on your team do that for you so you don't have to schedule it out, and make sure you put 3 to 5 hashtags that are going to help it show to your target audience. There's a tool called besthashtags.com. So you just take whatever you're targeting, let's say it was work-life balance as an example, it'll give you a list of all the top hashtags to use on social media for that particular search, and you just grab the 3 or 5 that are most relevant for that post and put it in with the piece of content and get it all scheduled out in one sitting so it's set and forget, and that way it's all going out at the right times of the day that your audience is going to be on that platform to maximize the opportunity to get in front of their eyeballs when they're going to have the time and space to be able to consume the content.
Thank you so much for that. I was even thinking too, how does someone decide what content to pin? How on TikTok now you can pin content, you can pin on featured on LinkedIn, you can pin on Instagram, I think you can pin on Facebook. How do you pin? How do you pin something that you can look at the most views, but how do you detect or know out of these top 5, how can I pin the top 3?
Depends on what your approach to social is. If it's for business, you want to have a hybrid. If you can say you can pin 3 items, one might be like your lead magnet or your giveaway, so people can get free access to what you do. Could be a test drive, sample, whatever it is. One might be a social proof piece of content where someone else is talking about their experience working with you. And then number 3 could be your most valuable piece of content for the audience. So if you're a business, I'd look at pinning a variation of each one of those 3. If you're just a creator, I would go for a nice variety in terms of what you cover, in terms of your expertise. When it comes to content, if you're an entertainer, I would go with your most viewed entertaining pieces of content that have had the most traction and put them there. So you kind of want to cater the pinning to what your goal is with social media and that particular platform, because everyone's going to have a different outcome that they're pursuing with their socials.
Oh yeah, totally. I love that. You know, you got me thinking about something too. When you create this content for people, like if it's 30 pieces of content for 30 days, it's one concept a week. If we can break it down like that, how can someone decide how to space out their content, whether it's top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, and maybe explain that to some people who may not know what that means?
Yeah, generally speaking, all the content you create with this system is going to be what gets attention. It's probably going to be the first interaction that a new person from a cold audience might stumble across. So it's going out to your cold market. Naturally, people that are already following you are going to get prioritized that content organically because the algorithm knows that they like that. So the job of this content is really awareness and drawing attention and eyeballs to business time. So that's the role that it plays. And because we're answering questions from your target customers and your target audience, it's really designed to build that credibility and legitimacy to that audience. So we've found, for example, with our organic content that we put out, it's a really nice way to just show up on the radar, give someone a micro dose of value so they don't have to give up much of their time, trade much of their time to learn a little bit or hear something that makes their day better. And that just puts you on the radar. And then gradually over time, if they respond, they're going to see more and more content. And then at the right moment, if you're advertising or if you're putting an offer into a piece of content or asking them to take a next step, that's when they start to lead deeper into the funnel and they might opt in or they might comment, which then you can interact and engage with them. So generally it's for your cold audience and also the people that come and check out your profiles because they've heard about you or they've been referred to you. So it also plays a role in converting and building that trust and desire if someone's looking to transact with your business as well.
Oh yeah, totally. I think so. And even connecting with people is even deeper. You know, when you have content, you need people for content. You know, so when people connect with people, the connection starts from somewhere and leads to something. So when you look at connections, how important is building a community with an email list? You know, important. Even though you're building content, you want that content to live or outlive its years. So how can someone use content for delivery, distribution, and relevance with community involved?
The great thing about the content created at a high frequency is you can have those touch points. And if you are building an email list, you're not always asking them to buy something, you're constantly adding value. And when you do that in a relationship, when you create a karmic debt because people feel like they've got so much goodwill from what they're consuming from you, they almost feel like they owe you something. So when you do eventually put an offer in front of them, or even if it's not a fit for them, they're much more likely to be a raving fan and tell someone, refer someone, or be an ambassador for you in the marketplace. So if you're constantly creating value, use your list to distribute it because you also get a spike in interaction when you send it out to your audience, which helps tell the algorithm, hey, people are responding to this content, let's show it to more people, let's push it back to the top of the feed. So you actually keep building both assets. You keep building the organic reach to new audience members and you keep adding value to your warm audience that's in your database. So you get this perfect 1-2 punch combo going.
Exactly. No, I love that. That's definitely the goal, because if somebody is getting that 1-2 punch, then they're getting 5 minutes today, 10 minutes tomorrow, 15 minutes the next day, and then in a whole week they've learned an hour worth of content that they've never heard before, and then people start to drill in as well. What's the powerful, what's the powerful, impactful reason for adding call to actions in your content? Because sometimes, you know, you can do content, but if there's no call to action, that content is just, it's content. So how do you make the content convert?
You need to tell the audience what to do. And depending on what your goal is, if it's to build an audience, just tell people, hey, if you like this piece of content, make sure you follow so you can catch future content. If you're trying to generate lead, so it's like, hey, we've actually got a free trial. We'll put a link to that in the comments. Make sure you get access to it. If you're trying to build engagement interaction, you ask them a question, hey, what's your top tip for work-life balance? Put it in the comments below. So you got to work out with each piece of content, what's my CTA, what's my goal with the content, and then cater it to that, because you can build followers, you can create engagement, which will help move the content through the news feeds, or you can use it to drive leads. So generally speaking, if you're solving a problem for someone in a piece of content and you want to generate a lead from it, you can simply say, hey, if you want some personalized help with this particular problem, just put a hands up in the comments and I'll check in with you and see how I can add some value. Little things like that allow you to create organic leads and get hands up from the organic posts that are going out in your feed. So just work out what you want to do. Do you want to build your followers? Do you want to generate leads? Do you want to increase engagement and interaction? And then make the CTA that aligns best with that, and you can achieve your goal through the content process.
I love that. Thank you so much, Aaron, for sharing this with us. I know a lot of people have gotten clarity. Now they know how to spend time wisely and connect. One thing I want to ask, one last question is, it just came to mind. Do you use an app to time yourself, or do you just clock away with a clock app?
No app. It's literally don't, because I don't like putting constraints on anything like content. You want it to be an organic process. So we set 90 minutes. We've never had a session go for 90 minutes. It's generally, I think I mentioned early, 20 to 40 minutes. So just allow the process, don't force it, because you want to be your authentic self in content, because that stands out in a sea of AI content, synthetic content. If you do you, then that's really hard for someone else to emulate without being a copycat. So authenticity and humanization in the future is what's going to really separate you from the sea of synthetic content. So do it as naturally and authentically as you can. Don't force it, and you'll get something that really aligns with yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for breaking that down. And I think when people take breaks, it's better than doing like long sprints, because when you do a long sprint, you get tired, you get exhausted. But like a quick sprint is like, okay, break time, sprint again. So your muscles are recovering, so you think about muscle recovery and muscle retainership. That's what I'm thinking when you're saying that, right?
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of sprint and rest. And if you can bundle and batch things and put it all together, like with the 30 days in 90-minute system, then you do the effort, it's done. You can park it, move on to the next priority in your business or your social media, whatever it is.
100%. Thank you so much again, Aaron. I know people want to connect with you and they may want to, work with you, and they're like, oh, this is an international app. Yes, we're international, but we also connect internationally. So I know if people want to work with you, how can they have access to you and where can they go?
So we give away the system, the 30 days in 90 minutes content creation system, for free with a tutorial to show you exactly how to do it. So if you go to contentonly.au, you can download it, see step by step how to create all that content in less than 90 minutes of your time every single month.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah. Now you guys heard it first from Aaron, all the way from Melbourne, Australia. And he's come to us on We Don't Play podcast show to talk about how you can spend 30 days doing something that's going to take you 90 minutes at least to generate business for your business. Literally, that's what is a 101. So I'm so glad that you're able to be here. Tap in with Aaron. You know where to find him. Click the link in the description and give him a follow. Follow him on LinkedIn. Follow him everywhere you need to connect with you. And then from there, reach back and say, hey, we listened to Aaron and Aaron said it and it actually worked. And that's what I'm happy to hear. So thank you so much for being with us, Aaron. And I can't wait to bring you back on this show again very soon.
Thanks. It's been an absolute pleasure.